The Nintendo Switch 2 has officially been fully revealed, and we are going to talk about it here today in very extended form. By very extended, I mean all of us are very extended because of the Switch 2 and all of its awesome things. Brody, how extended are you?
I'm so extended, you might even call me expanded.
That's a better way of putting it, actually. Damn, I should have said that. Welcome to this special episode of the CRUBCAST. If you're not familiar, we talk about shit. Welcome. My name is Kevin. I'm here with three of my fellow co-crubbers. We already introduced Brody. We're here with famous Twitch streamer JTart9.
Bro, I'm so excited. The Rivals Direct finally happened.
I'm Chris, and I'd like Justin to leave.
We should kick him out. So, the Switch 2, as you've probably already seen if you're watching this video, has been fully revealed. We have every detail we would probably want, and maybe some that we weren't expecting that we don't want. We're going to go over it in some detail here today, but general thoughts, everybody. Justin, I'm going to go to you first.
I was very, very excited, and then I saw the price, and then I got excited, but not as excited. And then, I don't know. I'm really excited for everything they showed, but then they hit me with the price of everything, and I'm just like, I can't get everything that I want when it comes out, so we'll see how it goes.
Sounds like you want to buy everything, Justin.
Well, I gotta get the amiibos from Street Fighter 6 because those are coming out the same day as this.
I gotta get the Presley amiibo for Street Fighter 6. Come on, guys.
There were some cool things announced. Like, I didn't expect there to be a Kinect. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Why did they do that?
It's the Pixar's latest brother. He's here now. It's great. He's only $50.
Unironically, I think that was a really cool thing. So first, we'll get to that in a second. Chris, what are your general thoughts?
It's very cool technology, I will say.
Thanks, Chris.
I thought the video was pretty well put together. I was like, wow, this feels breezy and nice. I don't feel like I need one right away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's kind of my short take.
Yeah, I'll go last, but that's kind of where I'm at generally. Brody, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that I feel very freed almost by knowing that I'm not going to get this thing on launch because I won't have that sense of FOMO because it's like, well, I already know going in I'm not getting it right away. And not because I don't want it, mainly because of the price. But also because I have my whole rule of I don't buy a thing unless I can spend the same amount on the console as I can on the games, which given the price of the games, won't take too long in this case. But no, I was overall positive on the Direct. I think they really pulled it out at the end. I think having 15 minutes explaining what Xbox Live Game Chat in 2005 was maybe not the best choice pacing wise, but I think they pulled it out with the reveals at the end.
I think this might be the most mid-direct I've ever seen.
Let's go.
I actually think last week's was better.
I think last week's was a little better. I'm not going to lie. I don't think that, like, obviously Mario Kart looks really cool. There are parts of it that if you know how Nintendo Directs tend to be, I have questions. For example, I went back and listened to the Mario Kart section again. For those that maybe haven't watched the Direct, there's Mario Kart World is the game that's announced. It's got an open world. You can drive between courses in the Grand Prix, and you just go around. It's Forza Horizon. And usually when there's like a hint at there being more to come, they'll say, oh, there are secrets to find too. They didn't say that. They didn't say shit. And there's a Direct coming in a couple weeks. So, I'm hoping that's going to be there. But if it's just an open world to drive around in with your friends and it's just the crew, that's cool.
I'm really hoping it lands more Burnout Paradise. If it is Mario Kart Burnout Paradise, I will be very happy.
That would be perfect.
Burnout Paradise or it's Horizon, I'm very, very, very happy. If it's the crew, I'm so disappointed.
and it looked a little empty. I like the stages looked cool. There's the cool like wall jumping stuff. I thought that was neat.
You can grind on rails.
You can rail grind. Like it seems like it'll be really creative.
It's 24-person races now.
Yeah, it seems like it'll be really creative. And I'm sure it's going to control really well. Everything looked good. Looked very pretty. But the open world stuff, I think, is going to be a big question mark. Especially at the price of $80+.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think
unless
the
you
game
get it bundled with the console.
I think it's got some aura. I'm not gonna lie. like
What does that
being.
We're not
mean?
using the word aura. We're not using the word aura here on the CRUBCAST. We don't do that.
We
Just
let
being
mid
a-
slide by. We let swap slide by. I'm putting my foot down. No.
Aura is
Can't
the
say
one
that this
word we're
game just
banning.
has aura. What does that mean?
It's kind of got aura. Just what? Well, I mean, I like all the new character designs. Obviously, we see DK having his new design from his new game as well, which is cool. And they're experimenting with what Mario looks like for the first time in a long time, which is really cool. Having that big open world, it took me back. Maybe not to Burnout Paradise where I want to go, but it did kind of take me back to like Crash Team Racing and the way that those games would do their story modes, and they would have that kind of big open area.
This is a Nintendo discussion. Why didn't you say Diddy Kong Racing?
What's
Because
that?
I didn't play that one as a kid, and it's inferior to
Or
my
City
favorite
Trial.
game.
You could have said City
Oh,
Trial.
it doesn't have enough
Because it's
aura,
City Trial.
Kevin.
Chris,
Yeah.
what did you think?
I just can't wait to break off from the pack, aka you two, and go take some photos with Justin by the courses. We can hit the C button to link up on voice chat. And
With
Yeah.
the paid subscription button, the C button, the chat button, we could get into chat and harass Justin in cart form as Bernie Sanders.
that's
As
true.
yes.
Yeah,
And
that'd be the
when I
way.
have the digital version of the game because it's $30 cheaper for some reason,
Right.
I can then trade you my virtual game card so you guys can try it out.
Well, that'd be fun. If we're on the
You know,
same
I
family
really
plan
thought-
in person.
I thought when they showed off the really extended section of virtual game cards that they were getting that out of the way to avoid having to spend 20 minutes this time on here's all this stuff that's really not necessary to talk about in detail.
That everyone
But
has
then
already
they talk
done
about share
before.
play. Yeah, they talk about share play for like 20 minutes.
Share play was cool. Download play being back is really cool. You can just straight up download play game share, or if you're a PSP owner, what was it? Ad hoc is what it was called.
Yeah.
That's all back. That's really cool for whatever list of games, we don't quite know exactly yet. The share play feature, the chat feature is just Discord, to the point
It's
that
It has the green around the people talking.
I thought it was actually a Discord
did
integration
too.
at first. And then they pulled the bit of in Mario Party. So there's a Switch camera. It's $50. You can buy that, and it will then let you, video chat with your friends while playing. So again, Discord. But in games like Mario Party, there's A, special modes for the Switch 2 version, but B, there's like the Japan game show inspired circle react camera,
Right next to your character.
which I thought was really fun. That's a really unique way of doing it, and I thought that was really cool.
Content creators are going to get a lot out of that.
Yeah, except I think the camera is probably going to be bad. So I don't know that they really will. Because even in the trailers, the games were chopping.
Yeah,
in
and
the
the
share play.
they do cut out the background for you, which is really cool. Like, it's interesting technology that they decided to even do that. But I'm just like,
We got
so
Zoom
can I
now.
can I plug any can I plug any camera in with a USB-C? Like, is that going to be a thing?
Justin.
Absolutely
I doubt
not.
it.
Oh,
There's
I doubt
no
it.
Nintendo, absolutely not. There's no chance.
Yeah.
They changed the SD card, so you need a new one. Like,
Well, that
Well-
makes sense. SD cards are a lot. The SD card type they're using is a lot faster. I understand that. That part's I think is fine.
Yeah, I just got flashbacks of the PS Vita when I saw it, and I was like, please, God, no. Don't make these, like, proprietary SD cards that are dumb expensive. Please, for the love of
these
God.
are a thing. These are a thing. I think you could use them on Switch 1 as well.
Yeah.
I think they're slightly faster on Switch 1. Not too much. In
Just
that,
now it's default. You only can.
Yeah. Now they can actually tap into it more. As far as other accessories go, they showed off a new Switch 2 Pro controller, which has back pedals, 2 programmable buttons. That's cool. That's default.
Audio jack, and a C button.
And the capture button. That's a thing. All of the things we said about SharePlay and the chat button in general requires a subscription.
Except for the
which they're
first year.
Except for the first until March, I think they said, right?
March 31st, 2026.
Yeah.
So for the first fiscal year of the Switch 2, you can get it for free. And then after that, you need a subscription. But also, you can't play
Online.
without, you could just chat, I'm pretty sure. They didn't really
You can,
they didn't really
you can chat
elaborate.
and screen share. I think that's it. You can't actually
Yeah, but you can't play
with each
games
other.
online. So
No.
you still need to pay for Mario Kart. So it's not really like you can't pay.
Wonder what happens if you hit that and aren't subscribed. Like, does a slide up obscure your screen? It's like, sure wish you could push this button, don't you?
I want to
idiot?
hit my PlayStation or Xbox share button and then have it say you need PlayStation Plus or Game Pass Gold to share this with your friends.
I think we're inching toward
Incredible.
that.
We are.
I said on Blue Sky,
Blue Sky.
I skeeted.
Ooh.
I skeeted that I think we're officially in the era where you can it's undeniable that all of them are the same now. Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, they are all the same. You can't really argue it anymore. I think we're in the full capitalism era of games if we weren't already. And I think that the share button is maybe the funniest example of that. Because, man, a subscription-based button is actually hilarious.
Well, what if when that slide up comes up, it's Mario, and he like takes his cap off and like holds it down, and is like, "I'm so sorry.
Give me the money." So he holds it out. He's like panhandling. He's panhandling with his cap on the street.
He's like, "Plus some change."
Mario's really struggling. He's really struggling for money right now, so that's why his game's $80.
He's like,
if there's a render of that, that's the thumbnail.
He's got his wallet open to the camera. Coins are falling out.
He's like, I can't keep all of the coins in my pocket.
That's just disrespectful. He's like overflowing. He's like, no, give me some more. I'm not picking those up. You pick them up and give them back.
So during this sequence, they did the Mark Cerny thing where they spent a long time talking about hardware. But again, in this regular direct, which was interesting, they talked about a little pack-in title that's not a pack-in. It's like, here's a bunch of PowerPoints and mini games.
It's paid. Why is it paid?
And you gotta pay for it.
It's a paid game. They saw Astro's Playroom and they were like, what if we did that? But
like so much worse, and we make you pay for it.
This was.
Why did they have to make you pay for it? Like, why?
This is one that hurt me because I was watching this. And I'm like, that's the stupid kind of bullshit I miss, right? Astro's Playroom was the grand next step that you would hope things would go toward. But you missed the stupid weird pack-in stuff like Wake Up Club or whatever it was on Vita, right? So I was like, all right, cool. This looks not very interesting, but I'll take it. And then they said paid, and I don't even care if it's $5. That's a slap in the face. I'm sorry.
It's one of those where you feel a little offended by it.
Yeah,
right. Because like, look at all the cool things your system could do if you give us more money.
I mean, it's very much how I felt seeing that 1-2 Switch was a paid title.
That was bad. That was worse because it was $60, but that was
$60.
Also, that was also at least kind of a video game. This is literally a PowerPoint that. You don't
tech
even
demo things.
It's a PowerPoint and then it's a tech demo for the mouse because the Switch controllers, both Joy-Cons, have a mouse as well. They didn't really talk about that much. I think that might be a feature that is going to go understated and is just for PC ports.
It's going to make Civ 7 playable, right? But
yeah. I really thought they were going to show off Splatoon with like my mouse aiming. I really thought they would.
Why would they show off any games beyond July, Justin?
I mean, but they showed off a FromSoft game in 2026.
Yeah, except for teasers, but like they kind of kept a lot of stuff close to the chest. I think my general takeaway is the Switch, this is not. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but the Switch had this undeniable, there's only one game coming out in the launch month, but there's a couple small games in the months after that we knew about well ahead of time, and they showed Mario at the end of the year. It's coming out right as kids get out of school. There are 2 games we know about that are coming out, except for Switch 1 games, like Metroid Prime and whatnot, are also coming later in the year. But we didn't get dates for Prime. We didn't get any of that stuff. It felt a lot less prepared than the Switch 1 was.
Which is funny because it's coming out so much sooner than...
Yeah, I mean, they're still hitting... I think they're trying to hit some of the same notes, right? Like, obviously, we have a Mario Kart. We have a big 3D platformer. We don't have a Zelda. That's, I think, the biggest thing.
Well, we have a Hyrule Warriors, but we don't have a game that's like we were saying, like you were saying, Brody. You feel free by not having to buy this. I do too, because with the Switch, it was like I need this launch year because there are so many cool things coming here. Partly because it's iterative, sure, but partly because they didn't really show anything that I'm like I need the system for this game. I can wait for Mario Kart, especially at $80. Donkey Kong looks cool.
Yeah. Looks pretty good.
Looks cool.
Yeah.
Like
Donkey Kong
doesn't look like it's gonna change how I look at platformers, but it looks really cool.
It's one of those games that is a textbook. Like, okay, here is the first game on the list of like 5 or 6 I need to justify myself buying this system.
Yeah. Again, looks very fun. It's very, very freeform, very open. Looks kind of like a bit of like what if Bowser's Fury had more stuff in it. In that open world structure, but also you can destroy the environment, which is really cool. It's almost like a Wrecking Crew kind of.
It's got like Deep Rock Galactic style, like mining, I guess you would say, like the way that it buries into the earth and they do this sort of what is it called when you walk through the snow, like tessellation effects and stuff.
Yeah,
through the.
I didn't really get a vibe of what that game really is, though. Like, it's a 3D platformer. I didn't really... maybe that's how Odyssey was. Maybe I'm not remembering Odyssey's first trailer very well, but that one's iconic to me. And you kind of had a very good idea of, this is like this kind of Mario game. Here's an open world platformer.
I feel like, I mean,
yes and no.
I would imagine it's being made by like the Donkey Kong Jungle Beat devs that went on to do all of the Mario games, right?
You would think, but then we have to think there's a 3D Mario. It's been 7 years.
This might be what they're trying to pass off as the 3D Mario for now.
That's interesting.
I think it's Seth Rogen's time to shine, bro.
Because we know it's like Retro's working on Metroid, so it's not going to be them.
Well, yeah, no, I think it's definitely a team within Nintendo EAD or whatever their new name is. I forget.
EPD?
Yeah, it's definitely like one of those teams. I'm just fascinated that, again, it's been 7 years since Odyssey. And if this is their next game, is there 7 years of reason for it to have taken 7 years, or is this a Zelda situation where now we're seeing Nintendo's main teams take longer? Because the one thing the Switch one was absolutely perfect at is they had games that were in the can for months before we knew about them. They were done before they were out. Like Dread was supposedly done for 6 months before it got announced. Like there's stuff like that where these games were functionally done. They had fixed all their problems from the Wii U 3DS era of not having, having a Wii U year, having a 3DS year, and even then only like 2 games. Right. They had really, really solved that. And if their main teams are taking, this long to make, functionally, DK Odyssey, I'm a little worried because Nintendo was supposed to be the chosen one that wasn't taking that long outside of Zelda.
Yeah, but I also feel like we have seen that pretty consistently with 3D Mario anyway, like outside of Galaxy 2.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. There's usually like one per console. It's very true.
And they usually like try and change things up a lot between them. So maybe they're just like trying to throw things at the wall with DK and seeing what sticks.
Maybe this game
I'm for it. I'm for experimenting.
Done for so long, bro, that the new Mario game is almost done anyway. This game's just been on the shelf for 3 years, dude. Maybe.
Which is why it's like at that point, why is this game on the
shelf? If this game was on the shelf for Switch 2 hardware before the Switch 2 hardware was done, that is wild.
They turned their homework in like way early, Yeah.
I
mean, there's that Fire Emblem remake that is supposedly been done for like 2 or 3 years now, right? Like Justin's been wanting it and they won't give it to him.
I'm still waiting for it, man.
Well, and speaking of Fire Emblem, we got GameCube Switch Online, which I know a lot of people I saw immediately were actually not happy with because they showed Wind Waker, and it's like, why Wind Waker?
Why Wind Waker?
It's like of all the games. And listen, for the sake of the initial like cell shading in video games as an aesthetic making its big break into the world, I am glad that the original version of Wind Waker is now playable. I do not ever want to play that version myself. I want to play the Wii U version.
Yeah.
I just felt like I was in Crazy Town looking at the responses because like that's totally fair. But I feel like, I guess it's different groups of people. I've been seeing years of like, oh man, I wish GameCube games were on Switch. And then now we're not getting that. We're getting a $450, then you can play it. But still, it's like, I look online and people are like, oh man, that's not the F-Zero GX remaster I was hoping for. I'm like, take what you can get.
Shut up.
Yeah, that's where it gets excessive. I don't think that part makes sense. For me, it's
like,
Wind Waker.
Wind Waker for this?
Wind Waker HD is the easiest port of all time to put on Switch or Switch 2. And to make that the first game you show on GameCube when people have been demanding those two, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, come to just release them for $80. People will pay it. Clearly,
like it almost feels like they're looking at that like this. Someone is sitting there going like, I know how to troll them. I know what's going to do it, guys.
They put Pokemon XD before Coliseum in this thing. It was weird.
Yeah, they scrolled the XD first, and then there was Coliseum after. I was just like, why?
They showed Fire Emblem on the list of games that was coming, which is very cool.
Yeah. Very
that also
cool.
means that's probably not getting remastered.
It's not $300 anymore, I suppose. It's $500 for a console.
And $50 a year.
Yeah. Their early list seems good if you account for all the remasters that have happened, right? Like,
yeah.
Like
pretty reasonable.
Expansions on there.
The other thing with GameCube Online is that sort of library, and this is not a real dig at the GameCube, but there's only... like you're going to run out of games pretty quick.
Well, I'm wondering if we're going to see. What I'm interested in seeing is if they're going to make third-party deals to get like.
Oh, I'm sure.
Splitters.
Yeah. I mean, Sega stuff is already technically there by way of F-Zero because Sega was developing that game.
I'm wondering with Banjo-Kazooie being on the N64 service, right? Like I'm wondering if we maybe see like Microsoft start using some of those Activision IPs for like, here's all these old Activision games on GameCube. Now they're on this, right? You have Hero's Tale, Crash Twinsanity, some EA sports games.
Well, maybe not those, but
Yeah, I don't think any of those.
Oh, EA. Like if you got the EA
Let's go.
Street games, like if you got the Street games, like NBA, NFL, that would be crazy. But they're not going to happen.
Licensing
That's
is
not going
impossible.
to happen. Like it's not going to.
We did get Madden announced for Switch.
NFC doesn't
true.
matter.
Yeah,
we did.
No one ever plays it there. The one that actually piqued my interest a lot was they showed Strikers, so I was very excited to see that again. They didn't show Melee, and I don't think they're ever going to do Melee.
No, I think
mean,
Melee
to be fair,
gets there.
I think, to be fair, Melee probably does get there, but we're not getting a Smash game anytime soon, probably, because we got Kirby
Sakurai's
Air Ride
making
too.
Kirby Air
Riders.
I am foreseeing now, though. I know for a fact the way that these emulations work, and they're just like that little slight difference. The moment they put Melee on, all of the Melee fans are going to make a big stinky about how it doesn't play the exact same.
I mean,
the
those
thing
people
is-
deserve pain, so that's fine.
The thing is, they should take it because their CRTs are burning out, so they need to go to flat screens at some point.
God. Yeah, Kirby Air Ride is interesting. I don't want to be cynical about it. I've never seen it with Kirby Air Ride, and for people that really want it, I'm happy for them.
Love Kirby Air Ride.
It's kind of funny that there's a Kirby Air Ride game the same year as a Mario Kart open world
That's
game.
what got me, because I
Like,
don't have a lot of
Yeah.
experience with Kirby Air Ride. It was very much a play it in the McDonald's play place kind of game. But I have friends
Yeah,
that
that's
love
fair.
it, and I know that this is huge for like a certain subset of people. Putting it in the same year as Mario Kart almost feels like they're sending it out to die.
I'm hoping it's deeper than Air Ride was. Like, I think Sakurai's learned a lot over the years in his time as a director. That I think he realizes that you can have that depth, because Air Ride is a very, very simple game. Air Ride
Very
is like
shallow.
a Smash Bros. It is like Smash Run, but as a whole game. It's like if you
And-
sold Smash Run for $60.
And Smash Run is great, but it's not $60 great.
Yeah. And like for 70, because this is going to be 70.
It's going to be 70,
It's
yeah.
like, I'm sure the game itself will be good.
You have to have a lot more.
I will probably end up enjoying it just because I like kart racers. I'm just like, wow, they're putting out 2 kart racers in the span of like 7 months.
For reference, Brody, in case you don't remember a lot of what you've played, it's kind of a one-button kart racer.
That's what kind of not a kart racer.
Well, yeah, it's not a kart. It's a one-button racing game, but again, I think you need more than that here, and I'm sure there will be.
I said it as a joke in our server, but I honestly was like, Sakurai's taking all this time doing this, and he's not making another Kid Icarus game. He could have just made a Kid Icarus game, and that would have went crazy, bro.
Yeah. Other
And knowing
things,
him,
I'm
he would
scrolling
use
through
the
the list.
mouse. I'm sorry.
I'm scrolling through the list of announcements here, and there's a bunch of Switch 2 upgraded versions, including the 2 Zelda Breath of the Wild saga games.
Which are free if you get the online version.
That was cool. I thought that was neat. Just better load times, better graphics, smoother frame rates. There's a Zelda Notes app on the Switch app, which is not the Nintendo Today app, so you need 2 Nintendo apps now. And with the Zelda Notes app, you can find shrines, Koroks. It's Google Maps. You can just have Google Maps tell you where to go when you pin something, which is interesting because the game had markers.
well, now a woman can say, "Go north to the Korok."
I thought we didn't want Fee.
Did you?
People hate on fees.
I don't remember if this was in a direct, but before joining here, I watched the Zelda Notes trailer video they put out.
They made that?
It's a 7-minute long video talking about the app.
7 minutes!
I just wanted to tell you that, and I want to tell you that I can send Justin raw gourmet meat if he scans my QR code for raw gourmet meat, and it will show up in his game. There are voice memos. Breath of the Wild, Zelda will have new dialogue. Tears of the Kingdom, it's Zelda, some guy, and then the evil ninja clan leader. Because in the video, it's like, and you can even talk to 2 other characters, and you just hear him be like, "Is this the afterlife?" And I'm like, bro, what are we doing right now?
I swear to God, if this was any company besides Nintendo,
And I'm like,
this would get so extra clowned. Like, it's going to get clowned.
I just don't
'cause
know
it's
why
really
it's
funny.
not in the game, because I'm just imagining so many people listening to Zelda be like, "Oh, it's the Midnight Rose" through their crunchy ass phone speaker. Like, come on, just put it in the game.
It's It's even funnier because it's like, oh, well, now I can't listen to a podcast on my phone. I have to listen to Zelda.
Listen to Zelda
But also,
whisper at
what
my
if you're
ear?
playing on the go? Because then you need one earbud for like one Bluetooth earbud on your Switch 2, one for your
you'll have to
Nintendo
wait
app for Zelda.
to use the Zelda Notes app in that situation for your portable console. Sorry, bro.
Like, it actually made this system less portable. And speaking of less... Go ahead, Chris.
No, it's like, I don't want to be like, oh, it's bad. It's just extremely funny.
It's really
It's
funny.
very Nintendo. It's very Nintendo.
Yep.
It's like when they had the in Splatoon voice chat where you had to use your phone.
Remember the dongle for
that?
It
that?
was so bad.
Yeah, you had to like plug it in.
You plug it in one of your Switch and it would go into your phone the other side. Yeah.
They're a fascinating company sometimes.
They really are.
Other things, speaking of the being less portable, it is still a portable system, of course. We already knew that. The dock goes up to 4K, which is nice. The screen is big and it's 1080p. 120 FPS, I was surprised by.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. No games are going to have that, but that's really cool.
Yeah, right.
They've already confirmed that they are going to have a Switch 2 upgraded version for Scarlet and Violet, so I'm very excited to see those windmills move at 2 frames a second instead of 1 frame a second.
That's going to be awesome.
Back.
Yeah.
We're still back.
That's a free upgrade. The Zelda ones and like, what's the name?
Mario
Kirby and the
Jamboree.
Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Star-Crossed World is the new update for Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
It's a DLC basically. They're selling a DLC and it's like also it's a Nintendo Switch 2 version.
There's also Super Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 Edition with
Jamboree TV.
Jamboree TV.
Yeah.
That's the name. That's the title of that game.
These are all upgrades that if you have the subscription, you get, right? Or
No,
I don't know. I
just
think it's just
Zelda is
Oh,
you get with the
Okay,
online
because
version.
I know that there had been that image going around of like the image that explains that it's Zelda or whatever, and it had Kirby and Mario Party in that image as well. So I thought
If they're all, that's a lot better. But they have not. Their messaging has been very bad outside of the direct.
Yeah, there are free ones. There are Nintendo Switch 2 versions, which I think Jamboree falls under, and Zelda.
Yeah.
I don't know how much those will cost.
Yeah.
Probably like 10 or 20 bucks.
I'm interested to see what the upgrade path is, because if it's like 30, 40 bucks, I'm like, at that point, I'm just buying a
There's
new
no
game.
way it's more than
Like,
10. There's not. I cannot fathom it being more than 10.
because like their DLC practice is already like normal DLC is $25, so I could see it going like up to that. But
That's the
I
thing with
really
Mario
hope it
Kart that's
doesn't.
insane to me. Because again, it's $80 because they know 60 million people are going to play it, assuming that the Switch 2 does as well as we expect it does.
and I feel like you
but there's-
incentivize getting the bundle because
There's going to
Very
be DLC.
incentivized.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. But there's going to be DLC too. So it's going to be more than $80 when all is said and done, because you also still need online, and the Switch bundle doesn't come with online. Let's not forget. Like it's not
can
just
chat.
$500. It's not just $500. It's like,
Everything else that comes with it.
yeah,
630 Canadian with just the console.
700 with the 700 if you buy the pack-in.
And the crazy thing about it too is that they have one that's selling in Japan only, and it's like 320.
It's very clearly like, we know the yen is bad and we're not trying to outprice our own, home region customers, but we can't let you import these. There's no way.
Well, right, because they have the multi-language ones which are just the price of which is diabolical. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a very interesting strategy.
It's
I think
very
they know
insular.
They know that a lot more of the Switch's active sales base for the first couple of years is going to be Japan. And again, you can't price out your home region. So I think that they want to make sure they eat that cost to get people in the door on the Switch 2 in Japan, because if they don't, that would be bad, considering, all of the competing handheld systems that are now out, Steam Deck, etc.
And with so many of Nintendo's relationships being Japanese companies, right? If your own country isn't buying it, it gets a lot harder to convince those people, even if the numbers are there. It feels like anecdotally.
That becomes the slippery slope that killed a lot of Sony in Japan for a long time. I think the PS5 is actually weirdly coming back from the PS4 being the doldrum years.
Yeah.
But that's just because gaming is getting more popular again.
Yeah, there's just money in it at this point. But now the things are happening. Yeah.
Other things, there's a game called Drag and Drive, which is an online 3v3 game that uses the Switch 2's mouse controls.
I did not know
it
how
looked
to
neat.
feel about that one.
It looks cool. It looks really cool.
Neat. So your characters are all in
Wheelchairs.
like athletic wheelchairs. I don't know what to describe them as. Like,
they are the ones that
they're
like athletes use. Like
like
straight up, they look exactly. They look exactly like.
Yeah,
they look exactly like them because like it protects
you
themselves.
control them using 2 Joy-Cons as mice, and that's where I'm like, is this how we want to represent this sport in video games?
It's it's an interesting idea. That game will not last 3 months.
Nope.
But it's cool. It reminds me of ARMS because the ball is very ARMS colored. It's like yellow and black with like ARMS font on it as well. So I keep thinking like, I don't know who's involved with that game, but I'm wondering if maybe it's like an ARMS, not universe game, obviously. It's got very little character to it. There's like one character model for the whole game.
It's all gray.
Yeah. It looks like a tech demo you'd see on Steam.
And they're going to charge you like $40 for it, probably.
I was going to say, I hope it's like $15.
See, if they had thrown that into the PowerPoint and then made that an actual pack-in title, I think that'd be great.
Or if they, it just gave you one of those for free.
Yeah.
That'd be nice, too. Yeah.
I'm buying a $500 console.
Not to be guilty of asking too much.
The speaking of the GameCube third-party stuff we were talking about earlier, we did forget to mention Soul Calibur was already there.
Soul Calibur 2 coming back is huge because that's the only way you could play as Link in that game. Because they have a Soul Calibur 2 HD, but you don't get Link. Obviously, you get Spawn and Heihachi.
Yeah. That brings us to this list. There's the third-party games for the Switch 2. There's Elden Ring is coming to Switch 2. Hyrule Warriors has another game about the imprisoning war, but it's a retcon of the imprisoning war because it's the Breath of the Wild universe imprisoning war. So Skyward Sword doesn't exist still.
Which, you
can play it on Switch.
They did very well with that in selling it to people that I don't think understand what a Warriors game is. Because I was watching the Direct with my wife, and the moment that it was like, oh, playable 3D Zelda game, but it's actually like Breath of the Wild and the Echoes of Wisdom, she was like totally on board. And then the moment I saw like the waves of enemies, I mean, I knew beforehand, but the moment I saw that and it confirmed it, I was like, so you might like this game, but it's not.
It's not.
I mean, to be fair, Hyrule Warriors is more Zelda-y than you think. I will give them credit. There are more Zelda-y mechanics to those games than you usually anticipate. I would assume with this one that'll be the case. It's cool. I'm glad this one's actually canon. This one's canon this time, supposedly. So look. They said that. I swear to God, they said Age of Calamity was canon for a while too, and then it wasn't. So
is there any reason that
believe
it can't be? Like, why?
It's an alternate universe where they go back and win. So it's like if Rogue One they won.
Sounds like Metal Gear Survive.
Yeah, actually,
it's there's a little tiny guardian that goes back in time when they lose to Ganon, and then they go back, and so you fight the wars that Ganon wins to cause Breath of the Wild with the people from the past in an alternate future. Or I forget, it's been so long, but it is not canon. None of the characters show up.
I'm not upset I skipped these games.
Yeah, I was very upset when I found that out because I thought this was going to be like Rogue One for Breath of the Wild, and that sounds really damn cool. And it was not. We got Bloodborne 2.
Bloodborne 2.
This might be the most, outside of the capture button, the most clear evidence of what I was saying earlier of all these main 3 companies are the same now, because they absolutely wanted people to think this was Bloodborne 2, and then a press statement came out afterwards, separate from the Direct, that this is a game called Duskbloods, directed by Miyazaki, made by FromSoft. It looks like Bloodborne. It is very clearly evoking Bloodborne. They wanted you to think it's Bloodborne. It is an 8-player PvPvE multiplayer experience.
And the thing is I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing or a bad sign. I mean, obviously the whole Duskblood thing is very much a Demon Souls to Dark Souls. Sony owns the rights, and we just need to, it is Bloodborne. Whether you want to call it Bloodborne 2 or Bloodborne Night Rain, that's another situation, right? But it is Bloodborne. And so what I think we have here is a situation where a lot of people are going to be apprehensive about getting excited about this until they see how Night Rain turns out. But FromSoft is so good at iterating and reinventing their own formula to fit new ideas in the way that Elden Ring is like, oh, it's open world and we're going to make magic, not shit now. Right. I'm like, I think they could do a multiplayer one. So I'm holding my reservation, my thoughts until I play Night Rain, get a feel for, oh, can they do a big co-op game like this? And so far, every FromSoft game I've played has never been a miss. So I have faith. I think whatever this game is, it's going to be fun.
This is very funny.
They just thought in the last month or so, they just thought about publicly. They were like, maybe we're considering balancing it so you can play with 2 players because Night Rain has to have 3 players. The bosses are designed for 3 players.
Interesting.
So I will push back on what you said because that game is very clearly designed in a way that is still you're going to play our way, which is an interesting strategy.
That's what I love. That's what I'm saying. That's what I think is going to work.
But you can play it solo. You can play it with 2 players, but I think they actually said they weren't supporting 2-player for a while. And then now they're saying maybe we will, but the bosses require 3 people to defeat, essentially.
I'm okay with it. Anyway, I'm okay with it.
Find 3 players and you're good, but that's interesting.
Where are you going to find 3 other people, Brody?
Easy. You gotta find 2 people that
you're not gonna get Nico to play.
I got so many Souls heads. My forever co-op partner alone is going to be the reason I get the game because I'm just going to game share it off him. So there's one, and then we just need another.
So I was making a face earlier because I missed the part that Elden Ring's Switch 2 edition has, and I'm quoting the IGN article here. It has all the stuff you'd expect. It has new weapons, armor, and torrent appearance customization. It has horse armor.
Does have horse armor.
Do I need to play one
That's
of these
one of the
games?
selling points of the new, it's just for Switch 2 owners, obviously. It's not meant to be like you buy it again, but it has horse armor. It's incredible.
Odd.
Going down the list, Deltarune is coming out. We already knew that it was chapters 3 and 4 were coming out soon anyway.
No idea.
They're just coming out the same day as Switch 2, but they're coming out elsewhere, so...
That's cool.
That's one. Damon Ex Machina is getting another game for some reason.
Which I thought was Armored Core.
That's an upgrade, I think.
Is it an upgrade or is it a new game?
That game came out on PC. I thought it was the
a new
PC
game.
port, but better. Because they put that in the sizzle reel of here's ports.
No, they had its own trailer.
Or is it like standalone in the way that one Xenoblade game was? But not really.
Like Xenoblade Chronicles X?
No, that Xenoblade DLC that was basically like another game.
It's listed as a new game, so that's better.
That's a new game.
When I was watching it, I thought it was part of the sizzle reel of here's all these games, because they listed like 40 games at once.
They did.
Hey,
and
look,
then
Split Fiction. Hey, look, Cyberpunk.
And then snuck Silk Song in there.
Oh, yeah. The three seconds of Silk Song. Most footage we've seen in 6 years. Release date 2025. The thing is, they did the same thing at the Xbox conference years back, where they said it was going to be like that.
That it was coming out that year.
So I will believe it when I see it.
I'm glad they don't care about these games.
It's the funniest way of putting Silk Song in there.
They announced Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, which has dubs and a new multiplayer mode, and they specifically in the trailer said new cutscenes, which I just thought, okay, who out of the Yakuza fandom is going to actively go back and play that 40+ hour game for like 4 new cutscenes?
You and Chris.
I absolutely will not.
Chris would.
I will watch them on YouTube. I will not do that.
Chris loves Yakuza.
Kevin, you played it most recently. Is there anything in that story where you're like, oh man, that needed fleshed out?
Remember that mission where I this is not my joke. Remember that mission where the kid gets his copy of Dragon Quest stolen?
Oh, well, yeah. They're going to make it Ichiban. Yeah, I saw that skeet, Kevin.
Yeah, I was not my joke. I don't know who made it, but that's the only thing I can think of. Like,
right.
Probably some more mini games. Like, I don't know what cutscenes you would need to add because Zero is already a standalone thing.
Right.
There's a multiplayer game.
All I can think of is the excuse to get the bad guys back together and do more with them. But
yeah, but that's not really going to make sense for the plot either. Like, Good for them that's happening. I'm sure it will also come to other systems anyway. It will not be an upgrade. It'll be a different game for sure.
Yeah. Happy for people.
It's cool for people that are going to jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. For people that are jumping in, that's really cool. I just realized they didn't announce any achievements for Switch 2.
Do you want to know what does have achievements? Tears of the Kingdom through the Zelda Notes app. We are back. We are back, baby.
So, I can finally trophy hunt in Zelda Breath of the Wild.
I did everything in that game, but I did not do all of the side missions, and I did not do all of the Koroks, because why would I? There's no achievements. They're not.
Don't worry,
substantive.
Brody.
Now damn it! If I get a platinum,
You know, while we're here,
worry, Brody.
Was this in the main direct? Because there's a second save file in those new Zelda versions, and I think that's very funny also. I
don't think maybe I skimmed over that.
That's
I just want to say, don't worry, Brody.
Yeah.
I hope I hope, and I think this would be the case, the achievements are not retroactive. So you gotta start
I really hope they aren't. You're right.
I would be surprised if they have, retroactive hooks.
They talk like they do because you can import your save, but for Brody's sake, I want him to have to start over anyway.
Yeah. It would be interesting. There was a thing I saw that I guess the Switch 2 does not contain like the Switch parts inside it to make it very simple. Right.
Yeah.
So they're essentially recompiling all the games which is when they run from Switch 1 to 2.
Yeah, which is why the backwards compatibility is only for certain titles.
Because I had the thought looking at the price point and looking at the state of the economy and it just in general, like it was already bad and then tariffs and everything make it blah, blah, blah. And so I'm looking at all of that going like, pirates are going to crack this thing so fast out of literally like necessity. Like, because people are not going to buy this in the way that they bought other consoles because where's the money? Where is the money that you're going to like obviously some people are going to do it, but I'm not, right? I waited 6 months to get a Switch. I'm going to I imagine at least that for this, if not like a year or two, because I'm going to want it to go on sale and I'm going to want a bundle. Like I'm going to want a Black Friday deal. And even then I'm going to be saying to myself like, oh, that's a hefty chunk of change. Cause it's just, I'm not paying $630 for a console with no games. Like I'm not doing that. And so I had the thought of like, well, maybe the reason why Nintendo was so hard on Switch emulators in the past year was that like, oh, there would be so much in common with the Switch 2 that you could just, fork one of those emulators, change it, and you have a Switch 2 one out of the box. But seeing that there's no actual, like the hardware is completely different, I'm led to believe something else.
I mean, they're probably just taking them down to take them down.
Yeah.
But so the other thing we didn't really hit on fully is the price is $450. We did say that. In other regions, it's more. In Canada, it's $700. They didn't say that during the conference. Mm-hmm. They specifically let that leak out. They specifically let that leak out a little bit afterwards. I'm not sure they even wanted it to be out today. I'm guessing so because I think the embargo broke or people started breaking embargo once the prices leaked. Like the pre-order listings are up technically, but pre-orders don't start till next week. So I think they were trying to hide it for a week. And then once it trickled out, it was like the Switch 2 specs where somebody leaked it and then everyone just showed their specs because they were like, well, it's already out.
Yeah.
And Nintendo then was like, all right, well, fine, whatever.
I think the most charitable view is they didn't want to put it in case something with maybe our country's economy would have upended that. But
well, that's the other thing I was looking at.
That's my hope.
Because I can very easily see a situation where this thing was supposed to be out like holiday, but they were like, well, we don't know how bad it's gonna get, and we want people to be able to get their hands on this, and it's already at a price point that like it's not gonna sell as much as we want it to, as much as it would at like a $350 or a $300 price point. So I genuinely feel like maybe getting it out in July is like it could get so much worse that this could be $1,000 by the end of the year.
June, Brody.
It will be interesting. I mean, to be fair, I didn't expect June at all. I thought this was going to be holiday and they were just going to punt the price until they could get away with not. I think you're right by virtue of,
it's June. It's 3 months away.
I'm sure June was in their plans because this is similar to how they did the Switch. They announced the Switch officially in October, did a direct in January, out in March. This is how they did it. I just thought that they wouldn't do a summer release because that's more of a risk than the spring risk they took last time. Obviously, they think they can get away with it, and I think that to some extent they can. I think outside factors are going to have a pretty significant impact on this first year or two, and I think that's fine because they have more money than ever, so they can eat it.
They're really banking on being a summer vacation graduation gift.
It helps that it's a Switch. It is portable. So it helps that like it's not a console. You can't really sell consoles in the summer because people are on vacation. This is, it is different. So, they probably can break trends again. But it's, I don't know. Like we said earlier, I was excited for it, and now I'm excited for it next year.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just like,
I needed like one or two more big games that got me like hooting and hollering. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like nothing they showed looked bad. Mario Kart looks great. Donkey Kong looks great. The $5 instruction manual digital thing looks fun, but
$5 asterisk. We don't know.
Yeah, maybe more.
We don't know.
Drag Drive looks cool. Yeah. It's like nothing was wrong about what they showed. I'm just like, man, like I just needed that Donkey Kong is arguably that one thing. I just need that one more thing to be like, all right, I guess I'll get it, ASAP.
Yeah.
But
and even like when you're in the weeds, Donkey Kong had been rumored for a while to be like a 3D Donkey Kong in production, and people just either you don't want to believe it or it's leaked, so you don't believe it. Understandably,
I didn't think we'd be
either of them
this.
either of them are fair to think. I wasn't surprised when I saw it, I think is the thing. Like because of those, maybe I spoiled it for myself, you could say, for over the last year of it being rumored.
Yeah.
But it was rumored for Switch 1. So like it being announced was like, oh, that's really cool. It didn't quite have that zazz, that aura that we're looking for.
I personally think it did, but in the way that like it's the first time I've seen a Nintendo game like they're leaning into the hardware, which I like, and they're leaning it into kind of the way that Astro did. I feel like where it's like, yes, we know that the people who play Scrimblows are ADHD afflicted man children. We're gonna give you what you want. We're going to give you a really flashy game that's particles everywhere, crazy shit going on, like collectibles. It's going to be shiny. You're going to go, ooh, ah. You're going to jump. Great. That is exactly what give me that, please. Thank you. I will take it.
Got to show off that HDR, bro.
I'm not knocking the game. I'm just saying that it's not, like you were saying, Chris, I needed something else for me to consider it, especially at that price. Like we were getting through it and I'm like, okay, cool. There's really not much I'm interested in. They announced the date. I'm like, okay, June, that's better than I expected. And then we hear the price and I'm like, we have a convention we go to in June. I'm not spending an extra $500 on a console. You
know what? I actually think the June release date might have even helped the whole like, oh, I feel free that I don't need to like go get this right away. Because in my head, I was already like, it's end of the year. So I was already mentally prepared to be waiting at least a length more.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to get it at launch end of the year anyway either. So like I'm good waiting the full year, whatever it is.
Yeah. It will be a worthwhile purchase at some point. I think especially with the uncertainty going on, like a lot of people aren't spending money, and that's going to be the thing, is like they're just in a rough spot because of the circumstances of when this is coming out. And that's unfortunate. They can handle it. I'm not worried about them, and they don't need my money to survive, so I'm not going to give it to them yet.
They should have saved Patapon for this direct.
Patapon would have saved this. I would have, Patapon Switch 2, I would have bought it.
Hot Shots Golf at 120 frames per second comes to Switch 2.
Hot Shots Golf is the reason $90. Last week's direct was better. Hot Shots Golf is my, like, that's...
The Nintendo surge pricing for Hot Shots Golf is going to be insane. $200 for that game.
I'll pay it
for Hot Shots Golf.
You're damn right, I'll pay it.
And you know, the week that comes out, you'll see the people be like, "Well, I had to buy the physical version because the PlayStation logo's on the back, and that's just like gaming history, you know."
I did that for like $5 with the first MLB The Show that came on Xbox because it was $5, and I was like, "Oh, sure, I'm never going to use it, but that's really neat."
For $5, of course, $70.
Yeah, that's cheaper than the manual for the Switch 2. So
probably
they're charging for the manual. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want us to seem too negative on it. I think a lot of people are already milquetoast on it, lukewarm on it.
If I combine it, like if I combine both directs into one like E3 sort of event showing, I'm very happy with what we got.
Yeah, and there's the Mario Kart 1 coming. Like they're going to keep drip feeding stuff. We're going to get more info. This was, I think, again, my final thoughts is this is when the veil finally definitively came off, that you can't say any of them are better than any of the others because they're all doing this shit. They're all doing the same shit. You know, most of the games shown off were just, hey, here's third-party games that way you know they exist for Switch 2. Like it's not really anything for anyone but Switch owners who don't have anything else, and that's almost nobody. Like we have data that shows that it's like 50% or more of Switch owners have a PS5 or an Xbox.
Yeah.
Like these are not competitors anymore. So those being there is cool, but now it almost seems like it's trying to be a competing system with how they pushed it there. Yeah.
Do we miss anything? I feel like we covered everything.
According to the list I went through, that was just about all.
We didn't talk about James Bond's here.
Oh yeah,
James Bond. Seeing James Bond was really cool. That was cool.
Yeah, we showed up.
I had a moment when James Bond came up because they were showing Hitman, and I was sort of explaining Hitman to my wife, and then they started doing James Bond, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool. They this is their new one. They haven't shown anything about it in like a long time, and then they didn't show anything. And I'm like, and they still didn't show anything about it.
Yeah.
I was getting excited. I was like, "Oh, that's kind of a big get, actually." I'm just imagining the conversation with your wife. It's like, okay, so he's like a clone and he's got a barcode on the back of his head and he kills people. It's pretty cool.
It would have been interesting because like there is a significant, I don't know that it was sales wise, but I have a significant nostalgia, and I've seen it before, for the EA James Bond games on GameCube. Mm-hmm. They were also on PS2, but they were like one of the only third party games on GameCube, essentially.
Nightfire and Agent on Fire.
And those were like iconic games if you had them. So it was like if you tapped into that a little more instead of just being, also here's another announcement of a game we already announced. You know,
right? It's like
it would have been cool. We have a long history on Nintendo, GoldenEye, you know, and they didn't really do any of that, and that's fine. It's just I would have liked a little more. If you're going to play to fan service, like maybe play. I
have a question for the class. I think it's fairly obvious we'll be getting a September direct to see what's going to happen around like holiday, right? Like I think that's clear because we don't know exactly what our holiday big marquee title is. Do we think we're gonna get like a June direct around the time of E3? Because that's when this thing drops.
I think not long after release. I think end of June, maybe. But also, we kind of do know what their end of year games are. You have to hope there's another one, but it might just be Metroid Prime.
Pokemon
ZA. Because they're holding both of those dates back. And I think part of it is everyone's holding dates back because of GTA. Because everyone does not want to be in the GTA crossfire. So I think that's a lot of it. Even though you think Nintendo audience isn't going to cross over with GTA, as many people have bought GTA as bought most Nintendo systems. Mm-hmm. So
I think your
it's there.
June direct is a Metroid Prime 4 direct.
That would make
they could do that, or I could see that in July, like around when Donkey Kong comes out. Like after that comes out, it's like, all right, now let's talk about Metroid Prime kind of vibe.
It'll be interesting. I don't know what you can really say about Prime 4 that might increase hype at this point. I think anything you say about it is going to actually almost hurt the game.
She can do more than open doors with her psychokinesis.
I love that. She can manipulate mechanisms and open doors.
It's like,
that's all we got.
When I saw that trailer, I was like, okay, they're not showing anything about this game because just what I just said, anything you show is going to take away from it. And if that's what you have to show, it makes me a little, not worried, I'm sure it'll be fine, but it looks like it's
I think the problem is
currently it's kind of just a game.
People were waiting
and
for
I'm hoping
it.
I'm really
People
wrong.
were waiting for it for so long. They built it up in their head in the same way, but like Pikmin 4 came out and it really is just more Pikmin. Like Metroid Prime 4 is going to really just be more Metroid Prime. And if that's what you want, great.
I mean, it depends because Metroid Prime is not the same as Metroid Prime 2 and 3.
No, it's not.
Like it's just more Metroid Prime is a big question mark too. Like,
is it going to be
and
two?
Also the mouse controls, like as much as people want to say Metroid Prime's a shooter, it never really has been. So making it into more of a shooter risks potentially it moving a bit away from the Metroid Priminess
I
of
think
it all.
by that trailer,
so I'm very curious.
Like it looks like they're using the modern controls of like the Metroid Prime 1 remake, where it is kind of like
that's what I'm hoping.
It's still
that's what I'm hoping.
Like kind of purposefully clunky.
Yeah, but I think that things like mouse controls seem like they're trying to make it less so. Either way, I think that I could see a direct, but I also would not be surprised if they're holding that Breath of the Wild style where they don't say shit about that game. Because we didn't really know anything about Breath of the Wild. We just knew this game looks insane.
The horse dodge trees.
Yeah. I'm mainly holding out hope in my heart. I'm not expecting anything in June. I'm holding out hope for September because Odyssey, if I'm not mistaken, was a September reveal, right? Or was it October?
It was. No, it was at
Odyssey was revealed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a June. Okay, so then maybe I am looking forward to a June one. Basically, I want to know. We have Mario Kart that's accounted for in the Switch's first year. We have Donkey Kong, which I'm assuming is sort of trying to cover their Odyssey base. What we don't have is what's replacing sort of that Zelda in the first year lineup.
Hyrule Warriors.
What do you mean? We got Hyrule Warriors and we have Tears of the Kingdom Enhanced Edition.
Wind Waker.
The Zelda guy.
Echoes of Wisdom, Brody. Do you remember that game? I don't.
Those aren't like marquee titles in the way that they're not going to sell gangbusters in the way that Breath of the Wild would have.
There's so many Zelda on Switch too, Brody. I mean, look at that.
Wind Waker.
I think
stop being so greedy. Some people only got 2 Fire Emblems.
Where is my DS Virtual Console? I want to play Phantom Hourglass.
2028.
My hunch would be Splatoon.
Splatoon could be it.
If you make it the whole launch year without a Splatoon, I think that would be a mistake.
especially if they're trying to sell the mouse thing. But then that leads to a whole complicated thing of you're going to literally have on a Nintendo system mouse players versus console controller players.
Oh yeah, bro.
That's going to be a disaster. People who didn't pay for the PowerPoint are going to have such a disadvantage.
Yeah, because they're not going to have the ability to know how their mouse controls work. Bro, they put aim trainer
Splatoon
in the
4 is pay to win if you don't buy the PowerPoint.
Yo, where's that little Ring Fit adventure at? I want to see what that goes up to.
That's crazy that you said that.
Wait, we're all thinking it. If
she's not in Smash, like at least make her like a Wii Fit trainer alt, you know?
I mean, she's an Echo.
That's disrespectful to her character.
Sorry, not an alt. I shouldn't have said an alt. An Echo.
You're gonna say an Echo fighter?
Yes, an Echo.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna get anything for Smash in the first 2 years of the console, just because you can already play Ultimate on it.
My closing thought is from a fan perspective of Nintendo and not a natural legitimate complaint. I've been mum on Nintendo for like 2 years now. I haven't really been excited for any Nintendo thing. So I was kind of looking at this as like, all right, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for. They've been holding their cards. Let's go. And I'm here like, well, maybe next year. Nothing they showed was bad, but I'm not like, oh man, Nintendo. I'm like, Nintendo.
Yeah.
I just want to get to that point, you know?
It's kind of interesting you put it like that. I think Tears of the Kingdom was kind of my season finale for Nintendo, and I haven't had the premiere yet of the new season. We're in like the severance wait.
Right.
The thing is, for me personally, I have not bought Mario Kart 8 on Switch just because I have it on Wii U. And so if I want to play it, I can just play it on Wii U.
At the very least, there's double that game now.
But the thing is, I don't want to play Mario Kart 8 anymore. I want to play this one.
Yeah.
But that requires me to spend $500.
Yeah.
Cringe.
So I'm so torn. Like I was like so into buying it. I was so into buying the Switch 2 at launch, and now I'm just like, I don't know, man.
We should all make a suicide pact, but for the Switch 2 purchasing decisions.
Yeah, when the first person buys one, everyone else has to.
We all at the same time buy a Switch 2 so we can play Mario Kart and use the Nintendo Switch chat app.
And we can all show it to Nico and be like, look, Nico, it's so much fun.
We're never going to be on Discord again, and it's going to make Nico very sad.
Close enough. Welcome back, PlayStation Crub Party Chat.
Man just bought $1 million PC.
to watch his friends play Mario Kart and only talk on Nintendo Discord.
Well, he can't even watch us play Mario Kart. That's the best part.
He can.
No, I do like the idea that Kevin is like using his capture card to capture the screen of Discord on Nintendo Switch.
And share it to Discord, but then I'm not talking in Discord, like I'm muted.
Yeah.
I can already hear Nico going, bro!
Bro!
Oh,
that's great.
That's a Switch 2, everybody. If you wanted the most middle of the road and it's all right takes you could find, baby, we got them for you.
We only give real measured takes.
I'm just saying,
fair and balanced on the CRUBCAST.
Combine the two together, you have a good direct. Also take out 15 minutes of explaining Xbox Live from 2005.
It was incredible.
It's
honestly.
Discord screen share. It's just Discord screen share.
That plus the price of everything was very like, oh, E3's back.
We're so bad.
Dude,
there was a tech issue on the American stream. E3 is so back.
I can't wait for the Switch to come out in the era, like in the time span where everyone, like Xbox and PS, are going to be trying to do their E3s.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they'll probably stall. The rumor is that I've heard rumors that Ghost of Tsushima is actually a summer release now too, so it might actually bump around a bit.
Oh, that makes things even
Everyone's
more
trying to avoid GTA, man. GTA is the bomb that's going to go off, and everyone is trying to get away from it.
Ghost of Yotei is going to be so sick, and then I'm going to be sitting over here with a $500 Switch 2, and I'm just like, man, I could have just bought Ghost of Yotei for $70.
I don't have any games to play because I don't want to buy Mario Kart on my Switch 2 that I just bought because I haven't played the other one.
I need to know the lore.
It'll be interesting. I'm excited to see how it plays out. And if you are excited to see how it plays out, and stay tuned in with our thoughts as we go through this new era of games where everything is the same and everyone's upset about it. Hit subscribe on Crub. Follow us on the audio realm at crub.org. Hit the like button. Leave us a review. You could check out our Discord. It's free. It's public at crub.org/join. There's a bunch of cool stuff and some premium stuff in there as well.
If you like to fund us purchasing Switch 2s while you don't have any money, go to patreon.com/crub.
We're opening a new $80 tier.
You get one Switch 2 game.
I'm putting the next bracket on the $80 tier. You don't get it if you're not paying.
Oh my god. I like the idea of you only have $5. That's not enough to get the Switch 2. Give it to me so I can get the Switch 2.
We should have a Crub Patreon pack-in title that's paid separately.
Let's go. Delist the Meet the
Okay.
Crub video. Put it up on Patreon Premium.
That's great.
That's our
right.
We
manual.
gotta stop. No more.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye,
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.